Hi, welcome again to the American Acupuncture Council's monthly live webinar or live event where we're going to bring you some exciting information on all types of issues related to the acupuncture profession. For today's edition, I'm very excited to bring up Dr. Singer, who's a long proponent of chiropractic, but all types of complementary medicine, including acupuncture, who has really helped develop ways of marketing, ways of promoting your practice to ensure that really you're going to have a profitable practice and one that has patients. And really that's the issue. It's just a matter of a successful practice is one that has patients, but it's often acupuncturists will wonder, well, how do I get these patients? How do I make them get into the office? What do I do to educate? And that's what Dr. Singer really has placed his whole emphasis has been. And quite frankly, I've known of Dr. Singer since I was in my teens, being my father's a chiropractor. And of course, we're talking about acupuncture, and this is the thing. He has come into the acupuncture profession as well for the last 15 years, overseeing and helping many of the most successful chiropractic offices or acupuncture offices have been through his methods and tools. It's a tried and true way of doing it. So Dr. Singer, welcome, and I'm really glad to have you.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. I'm glad to be here with everybody else.
Well, that's great. Well, great. So why don't you give us a little bit of your background so everyone that's not familiar with or knows a little bit more about you?
Well, I am a chiropractor, but when I went to chiropractic school in 1969, I was looking for someone to be a mentor to inspire me and I could look up to. And the person I chose was a chiropractor named Dr. Arnold Foster, who practiced in New York. And I went to school in New York. And Arnie was not only a chiropractor, but he was an acupuncturist. And it was through Arnie that I developed a tremendous love, always which I've had for chiropractic, but for acupuncture as well. I was raised vegetarian. My parents had the first health food store in Newark, New Jersey in 1953. My dad became a Tai Chi master and died at the age of 95 in the middle of a Tai Chi class. So when I almost got killed in a car accident and looked for a way to get well, it was through complementary healthcare, complementary medicine, or alternative healthcare that got me out of pain and suffering, discovered chiropractic, fell in love with it, and the rest was history. So that's a little bit about my background. In the world of the healthcare professionals, I built the largest practice in the chiropractic world in a period of 9 months back in 1981 by bringing into my office 50, that's a 5 with a 0, 50 new patients a week on average. Every 8 weeks in my practice, I'd have over 100 new patients. All you have to do is build the largest practice in the world in the shortest amount of time, and people start calling you for help. And so since 1981, which is approximately 36 years ago, I've been managing 800 to 1,000 clinics a year, both in the chiropractic and acupuncture world. In the world of chiropractic, I'm a specialist as far as my own practice. We do a technique called upper cervical, where we concentrate on the upper part of the spine and the nerves that are there. And I own my own technique called neurological relief. And we have 225 clinics around the world, all using this technique that we promote. I can go over a million different things that I've done to help in the world of healthcare. I helped write the Obama Healthcare Act. I helped write paragraph 2706. And when we were putting that paragraph together, that reads, any healthcare professional has a right to practice, but they also have a right to be reimbursed by insurance, and that they should not be discriminated against. And when I helped write that, I was thinking, of course, of acupuncture, not just chiropractic. So it's an all-inclusive part of the Obama Healthcare Act, which is law, that no insurance company should be able to discriminate against chiropractic or acupuncture. And those states who've gone to fight for this, like Oregon and like Washington State, the acupuncturists over there who made this part of their law, which is federal law, are covered by almost every single insurance company, and they get reimbursed, by the way, way better than a chiropractor does. So I'm a champion of the cause. I've been fighting for you and your rights, and I've devoted my entire life to helping people who are devoted to using things that are not drugs. I'm totally anti-drug, and I support anybody who wants to get people well naturally, and I fight for your rights. I'm involved in Washington with senators and congressmen, and I'm here to help you do better in any way I can.
Well, thanks. That says a lot. In fact, I'm the big proponent. Obviously, 2706 makes a large difference for every provider because it means within your scope. So for acupuncture, I think the biggest difference there was there were a lot of states, for instance, New York, who would only cover acupuncture when performed by an MD. But as soon as this became law, of course, everyone could now get the coverage, even go into a licensed acupuncturist. So the reality is obviously there are many more patients available. And the key is, and I think this is where you've really helped, I think, the profession the most, is how do practitioners really get these new patients? You mentioned you could bring in 50 every week or every 8 weeks. So what are some of the ways you recommend that an acupuncturist that's affordable and gives you a lot of bang for the buck to get these new patients? What can they do?
Well, first of all, I just want to say something to all the acupuncturists who are watching. I've built up a reputation, sometimes unfortunately, because I help acupuncturists become extremely successful. And for some reason, it's come across to other acupuncturists out there that my whole thing is money, 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 money. All these doctors who've come to me are millionaires and whatever. The truth is, you cannot make money if you don't help people. And money is a byproduct. It is not the product. It's what follows helping other people. And my whole mission has been to help as many people as I can. And my mission is to help you and any other doctor who is devoted to getting people away from drugs. So although my clients happen to make a lot of money, that is not our motive. We're not here to show you how to take money from people. We're here to show you how to help people. So as I was just saying, that money follows service. And the more people you serve and the more service you give them, the money will absolutely follow. But I was asked to share with you, and I am sharing with you, what you do to get new patients in the door. So we teach a system called the 3 C's: contact, communicate, and close. If you don't have contact with anyone in your community, how in the world are they going to become your new patients? There are 4 methods to bring about contact with the people in your community. One of those methods is to have your patients do it for you, and that's called referrals. And there's an entire science and art to getting more referrals. There are many of you who are listening to this call who just through this method alone could easily double your practice. You see, when you walk in a room and you say to them, "Sam, how you doing today?" And they say, "I'm doing all right. How about you?" There's no gratitude in that communication. I walk in the room and I say, "How you doing today?" And they go, "Well, I'm doing a little bit better." There's no gratitude in that communication. But if I walk in the room and I say, "How are you doing today?" and they go, "Doc, you're amazing." Or they say, "Bob, I cannot thank you enough." Or "I can't believe that I've gotten rid of that problem," which happens all the time in acupuncture practices. But doctors and acupuncturists, they just don't realize that when someone gives you gratitude, they are willing to help you. So if you listen to what people say when you say, "How you doing today?" and they give you some gratitude, all you got to do is tell them, "I really want to thank you for giving me this gratitude, because my mission and my purpose is to help people. And the fact that you're doing better really makes me happy." But what makes me very unhappy are there are thousands of people within 5 miles of our office who I could help, we could help, but they don't know who we are. They don't know what we do. So I wanted to ask you a favor, and that favor is to help me get what we do out to the people. And there must be people that you know who suffer. And what I want to do is to invite them to come in and see what we do. Now, there's many ways you can go about inviting these people. You can have them bring somebody with them on their next visit for you to meet. You can give them some literature to take home and hand to somebody. But one way you can get out and make more contact is to let your patients do it for you. The second thing we show people to do is what's called a shiatsu class in the clinic. If you have patients in your office, you probably know that in China, acupuncturists see people every day. But in America, acupuncturists see people once a week, maybe twice a week. They don't see them every day. So if you sit down with your patients and you tell them that traditionally acupuncture is performed by seeing people every day, in your clinic, you can get by with having them come maybe once a week or twice a week. But in order to do that, you want to train someone they know to do shiatsu at home with them. Well, the next thing you know is you wind up having a workshop that's filled with people. And as a result of those people coming there, if you know how to run it properly, those people are going to be your patients as well. The third method to make contact with people is through workshops you can do in your community. And let me tell you, the subjects of acupuncture and what they can teach, which is how to handle women's hormone problems, how to eliminate digestive troubles naturally, how herbal remedies can help you get well. These type of topics will get you into so many clubs, groups, and organizations. People really want to know about acupuncture. If you make the effort to get out there, there will be plenty of people who would like to have you come. Now, obviously, we train our people on how to lecture, how to introduce yourself, how to survey, and how to close the people. So not only do you talk, but you walk out of there with patience. And then there's two more methods, and that is one, to go out and do what we call health screenings. That's where some of our clients over the years, like Bob Doan and others, developed a way of going out there and offering a second opinion. You put up a sign saying free Oriental diagnosis, free, I don't want to use the word Chinese because it really is Oriental, free second opinion with Oriental medicine. You will find a line of people lining up to talk to you. And that's what helped Bob build one of the largest practices in the country, if not the largest. So there is methods to get out there. Now, one of the easiest things to do out there is the internet. And I think you're going to ask me more about the inexpensive ways to do it in a minute. But somehow I'm finding myself in the marketing thing. The second thing is you got to make contact with people, but that doesn't make them become a patient. You got to also need to know how to communicate with them. So as I was saying, in regards to these 3 C's, there's contact and then there's communication. The problem is if you don't know how to communicate with a person, to get them to be willing to come and see you and let you help you, meeting all the people in the world is not going to do anything. You got to know how to communicate. And the first thing you need to do is know how to get them past the fear of acupuncture. Half the people you meet, when you tell them you're an acupuncturist, you don't have to say anything else, they're not going to go to you. So it'd be much wiser to introduce yourself as a practitioner of Chinese medicine, and also you do acupuncture. By saying it in those terms, you remove the fear people have of you. But then you got to find out what their problems are, and then you got to know how to convince them that Chinese medicine can help them. And I can tell you, having worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of acupuncturists, if you do not know how to talk in simple layman terms about what Chinese medicine and acupuncture can do to help them, you'll never see them. Talking to people about you have too much wind in your system, there's too much qi, talking in terms that people don't understand, you'll never get a patient. You have to explain to them that Chinese medicine removes the barrier to the free flow of blood. And inside your blood are all the nutrients and oxygen that heals your body. So through all types of trauma, there can become blockages in the flow of the vital nutrients and blood to your body. What Chinese medicine does, what acupuncture does, is we locate where out of the 2,000 points in the body, a block in the flow of blood can occur. And through tiny little needles that you hardly feel at all, we can remove those blocks in the flow of blood. If you have a problem with your knee, it can be there because there's a lack of flow of blood. If you're having a problem with a digestive issue, it could very well be not enough blood into your digestive system. If you talk about blood, an American will understand it. They will not understand qi and other foreign concepts. You got to learn how to communicate more simply with people. And then the third step of our 3C program is you got to learn how to sign them up without being obnoxious, without sounding like a salesman, and without being pushy. So if you know your 3Cs and you get out and meet people, then you are definitely going to boom your practice. But go ahead, Sam. You wanted to ask me other things.
I was just going to say, so clearly what you're saying, I think too many people think it's always money. It's not money. It's a successful practice is one that you love what you're doing, helping patients, and the byproduct, of course, is money, but it's a key of getting patients. So what I'm hearing you're saying is a lot of acupuncturists want to make sure they're communicating properly, because often it's a lack of the understanding for that person to know what you can do. And so really, I think the first marketing that you're saying, and that's a free one, is really just your existing patient base, but getting out into the community. Now, you had mentioned, though, beyond that, how do you help, or what would you suggest? Is there any type of social media, or are you doing the same thing with social media? Is it more educational?
Well, I mean, we could spend the next 9 hours on that. I mean, first of all, there's a website called Health Profs, HEALTH, Health, Profs, PROFS, which is an abbreviation for health professionals. And what they do is they allow you to join for 6 months for free. And I do not have any acupuncture clients who have not done unbelievable by just getting onto that website. In other words, you would go to healthprofs.com, tell them that you'd like to become a member and to list yourself on their website, costs you $0. And at the end of 6 months, if you're satisfied with all the new patients you're getting, costs you $39 a month thereafter. It'll be the best investment you made. But in the other areas of internet marketing, such as Facebook, Google, moving up the search engines to be on the top, there's new technology on this, Sam, all the time. And, you know, at my age, which is getting pretty close to 70, you know, I'm not as up to date as everybody else, but I have to be, at least know about it, even if I'm not doing it. And so obviously the standards to get up on Yelp is based on reviews. And if you did a thing in your practice where you can have a Yelp day, you know, once a month. And when patients come in, you ask them, do you have Yelp? If you don't know what Yelp is, it's a referral-based website that many, many people use. I mean, I won't go to a restaurant without checking Yelp. And there's many people won't go to a doctor without checking Yelp because it's nothing but references and reviews. So if you said to your patients, do you use Yelp? And they say, yes, I do use Yelp. Then you have to ask them, do you ever write reviews? Because if they don't write reviews, and now they're all writing reviews about you, it ain't going to work. They know exactly what's happening. So if they say, yeah, I do write reviews, then I would ask them if they would be nice enough to write a review for me on Yelp. Keep it very short, 3 or 4 or 5 sentences. And if you have a Yelp day once a month in your practice, you can actually give people a $10 credit on their account for everyone who writes you a review on that day. And believe it or not, your competition don't know anything I'm telling you. So if all you do is get like 5 people to write you positive reviews, you'll probably go right up to the top of Yelp. But remember, it's got to be written on their phone, and they have to be writing reviews before they did yours. Now, in the area of Google, you may have heard of that organization. They have a whole other system to rank you and move you up the internet. And one of those now, Sam, which nobody knows, is that if they come into your clinic and they locate, there's a term for this, they indicate they're in your clinic. And boy, I just went blank on it. My son would know the name of that. But you know, you go in there and you click on, I'm here at this clinic. That's what they're now using. They're saying whoever, like if there's more people clicking, they're over at Domino's having pizza, then they're going to move Domino's to the front of Google. Not because they have the best website, not because they have the best reviews, but because more people are clicking that they're there. So there's all these little things that you could do to help move yourself up the internet. I have every day, Sam, people trying to get my doctors, because remember, I manage 1,000 clinics. They're always trying to get my guys to pay them $300-400 a month. They're going to move them up the internet. And I will tell you, in the vast majority of cases, it's a total waste of time and money. The reviews move you up, and they do also with Google. And you can have your patients do it. Just ask them to write your review. And have a review day for Google and have them ask them to write your review, ask them to give you 5 stars. But remember, it's got to be on their phone because they'll track that ID. And on Google, you could do them all in one day. Yelp, you should spread them out. You could have 30 people do it all in one day on Google, doesn't matter. And you will move up by having a lot of good reviews. But if they indicate that they're in your clinic, they press maps and they press the button, they're in your clinic, that's going to make a world of difference. So there are things that the people listening can do that are inexpensive, totally affordable. But in the time that I'm given here, I'm certainly not going to teach you a whole seminar.
Right. Sure. Well, I kind of look like you said, when someone's thankful, the idea would be that's how you get that thanks, is instead of them just saying, thank you, hey, let's do a review. So that's going to help move you up. And I really think, again, that's just the simple marketing that you set up, is to start creating the buzz around your own practice, because it's there. It's just, is it available? Can people see it?
That's
So
right.
now you had mentioned about that. What are some ways about just the community in general? Now you mentioned going out doing talks, or what type of groups would you try to approach? You said there's many groups that would have you. What groups would you think to approach?
All right, I'm going to give you 12 of these right now. You got to think of these as I go down this in your community. I say these 12 because we know how to get into every single one of them, or rather, how to get you into every single one of these. The first would be vitamin shops. At one time, Sam, I had a contract with 3,650 vitamin shops to allow my clients to go in there and do literally whatever they wanted to do. That they became now a public company, but we've never had any trouble getting our doctors into the vitamin shops to lecture on a regular basis. Then there are supermarkets. Now, Sam, I don't know if you heard last week or 2 weeks ago that Whole Foods supermarkets were bought out. Did you hear about it?
Oh, sure. Amazon took them over.
Yeah. Now, why did Amazon take them over? Because Amazon has been more than a year predicting that the food market is going to be one of the biggest things. And what is going to be happening in the food market? Healthy food. And what kind of healthy food? Food delivered to your house. You understand? There's Fresh, there's a Blue Apron. Numerous companies are farming. Amazon is planning to bring healthy food to your house through drones. Not a joke. The drones that they now have can see if there's another drone nearby. It'll just stop and hover. They'll guess to your house and bring you the food. Walmart just announced that you can shop online and go down to Walmart and pick up your food. Most supermarkets are worried about what's happening with food being delivered to home. So what do they want? They want the customer to come to the store. So they're looking for things that can be done in the store to bring the customer there. Years ago, I signed up 17 Whole Foods supermarkets by coming up with a thing called Shop with the Doc. So if you wanted to take your people shopping, if you know a little nutrition besides Chinese medicine, you can definitely work with supermarkets. Then there's what I would call a Grand Slam, which is a YMCA. If you have a YMCA in your town and you know how to build a relationship with them, that may be all the marketing you'll ever have to do, because they have programs for children and seniors and women and men, and they got more things going on than you could ever imagine. So we want to get you in there and have you lecture. Then there are women's workout centers like Curves, Shape Express, Fitness America. You can't lecture at a weight loss oriented place on weight loss. They have their own program, but you can certainly talk about women's hormone problems as an acupuncturist. You can certainly talk about digestive issues, and they would love to have those kind of programs for their membership. And then there's health clubs. I built a chain of clinics and Gold's gyms throughout the United States, and we know how to get in there and work with them. And then we're getting closer to some of my favorites, senior centers. Senior centers, are you kidding? If you offered to go and do a talk on natural solutions to arthritis pain, how acupuncture can help arthritis pain, you might want to know this, Sam. Do you know that the latest edition of AARP said that 30% of senior citizens in America have been prescribed OxyContin? Do you know that OxyContin is one of the most addictive drugs you can take? You know that the governor of Ohio is suing the manufacturers of OxyContin for hundreds of millions of dollars because half the children in foster care are there because their parents are now addicted to OxyContin? Do you know that in America now, more people are in auto accidents due to drugs, not alcohol? Do you know that drugs just replace alcohol as a primary cause of auto accidents? So yeah, you ought to get out to senior centers and talk to them about natural solutions to arthritis pain. And then there's recreational centers. They're a little bit different than senior centers. I'm talking fast because I don't have a lot of time. And then there's libraries. Now, I run a federal program. I have the largest nonprofit federal organization for wellness in America. So we have total access to all libraries. But then there's churches. They are phenomenal for marketing. They have in a good sized church, they have the senior group, they have the widows club, they got the young Christian mothers club, they got the men's club. They got more groups and organizations you could ever imagine. And all of them are looking for speakers. And what you could speak on, they are definitely interested to hear. And then there are community colleges, which we know how to get into, small businesses, large businesses. You don't understand, everybody wants to be healthy. Most of them, see, in chiropractic, Sam, as you know, you mentioned chiropractic, a lot of people are afraid of it. because of the amount of brainwashing that was done by the AMA to scare people to never go to us. That never happened to the acupuncture profession. People are curious to know about what this is. They really are. It's so much easier to work. I mean, medical doctors, a lot of them are hiring acupuncturists. You understand? They're not afraid of us. They don't think we're bad. We have a much harder time in the world of chiropractic. So those are some of the venues if you want to get out there and lecture. And you just got to go out there and tell them you'd like to come and do a talk, explain what you do. And if I can help you in any of that, I'd love to.
Well, I know you do aid in that, because certainly, of course, getting out in front of people is important. But what about, how does the acupuncturist learn what to say, or do you, and I know that you have some of these tools, so I know you do some things here to make sure they're doing the right things and understand it. Again, not reinventing the wheel. So what do you offer? I know you have some products, or at least some.
Well, I mean, why don't we do this, Sam? I mean, people pay me, money to get trained by me. But for everybody listening here today, if you want, I'll invite you to spend 2 hours with me for free. All you got to do is write this down and dial this number and tell me you'd like to come to a webinar with Dr. Singer. I do webinars every week, and I'd love to have you be on one of those webinars. The number is 1-800-326-1797, and ask for Grant. And Grant will enroll you in one of my webinars on marketing and on communication and on how to get into all these places we're talking about. And it'll be my gift to you for listening today.
Oh, that's great. So we appreciate that. So, and for anyone that's listening, don't worry, this show is archived, so you can always go back, re-listen if you didn't miss the number. And I think we'll be able to put that up at the end. Now, once that patient actually arrives, what do you recommend someone does? I mean, I know, again, it's limited time, but what do you do to try to make sure there's a good understanding? Do you do like a report of findings? How do you recommend for doctors to really ensure to close that deal for that patient to seek the care?
All right, so this is an enormous big problem. Having dealt with thousands of acupuncturists, I don't know if you know this, Sam, but the average acupuncturist in America sees one new patient a week and 10 visits. That's their average. And most of them, after 3 years in practice, are working outside, supplementing their income. Maybe they're a waiter, waitress. This is not okay. You do more good, we do more good than a lot of the surgeons in your town. And for you to be financially strapped, have financial difficulty is absolutely not okay with me. I want you to do great. I want you to do well. In China, you go to see an acupuncturist, you go every day. Most of those people go for 30, 40, 50, 100 visits. Acupuncturists in America, they think they're doing great if they recommend, I want to see you 10 times. I want to see you 10 times. Some people say, we want to see you 5 visits and we give you a discount. If you read you read the Yellow Emperor's books on Chinese medicine, the founder of, the man who wrote the book on the text on acupuncture, Chinese medicine, he said, you don't treat the branch, you treat the root. In chiropractic, you treat the cause, not the symptom. Everybody who walks in your office, here's what they want to do. They want to spend as little as they can. They want to get better as fast as they can, and they want to get out of your office. If you do not educate your patients on the difference, between treating their symptom or treating the branch instead of the root, your people are going to come and feel better and quit. Come in, feel better and quit. Come in, feel better and quit. You can't build a practice if people are leaving as other people are arriving. You see? I mean, it just doesn't work that way. If you believe that it'd be beneficial to receive acupuncture until the pulses are normal, until the tongue is normal, until other indications that you might use to diagnose, then you got to learn how to educate the patient so that they choose to be with you longer. You don't sell it to them, you educate them. And you do it through analogies and examples. Sam, there's 2 ways I can treat you if you want to be my patient in this acupuncture clinic. It's like this. If you had a roof that's leaking, Sam, I could put a barrel down and I'll collect the water and your floor will be safe. But every time it rains, I'm going to have to put the barrel down to catch the water. And you know what, Sam? One day in the future, your roof can collapse. The other way I can help you, Sam, is I can go up on the roof and I can fix the cause of this problem. It might cost you a little more money now, but in the end, it's going to save you a fortune. And remember, this is your life and your body. So your options are I can treat your shoulder and the pain you're in, or I could treat your spleen and your large intestine, which are actually giving you the problem in your shoulder. So it's up to you. And the close, Sam, that we train people on to ask is, if you could afford it, and this is the key, Sam, if you could afford it, what do you want me to do? Treat you symptomatically, give you relief, or do you really want me to fix the problem so that you're an actually healthier person? So if you could afford it, what do you want to do? And that leads us to what I hope you'll ask me about, which is the subject of money.
Yeah, well, first, I want to just round that up and say, clearly, it's an issue of education. We know acupuncture works well. I've been a patient, you've done it. It's certainly something that is a wonderful treatment that most people, once they try it, so it's a matter of getting them in and then educating them on it. Well, and that brings me to, as you said, though, so now when you do talk about money, how do you approach and how do you broach it? Because so many acupuncturists, in my opinion, are afraid of collecting money, not understanding the value of their service.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that acupuncture is the most underpriced experience on the planet. You take a patient, I had a patient that spent $100,000 running around the country to help them with migraines. And in 3 or 4 visits, you guys can knock out their migraine. It is asinine to be afraid of talking about money. You see, the more you're afraid to talk about money, the more you feel bad about talking about money, the less money you're going to have. You got to relax about it. Money's just part of life. You know, that's just how it is. You got to lighten up about it. But you also have to have the ability to offer payment plans. And many years ago, I don't know if you know this, Sam, I took a company 35 years ago called Dencharge, and I renamed them with the executives who owned it. And I turned it into, with them, before I didn't turn it in, I gave them the name and the idea, and that became what's called Care Credit. Now, I spent 3 years convincing them to cover acupuncture, and then they canceled it without even calling me after I've done all this to help my friends at Care Credit. But I have a new company that will finance everyone who's listening here, give the money to every patient who walks in your door, and make your care affordable to anybody who walks in. All you got to do is tell them Dr. Singer sent you. The name of the company is called Healthcare Payment Solutions. I'll give you a phone number if you want to dial it. I'll write it down. It's 727-902-7311. That's 727-902-7311. And ask for Darius. Now, tell them I sent you, because they charge $495 to set up internet banking for your office. Tell them I sent you, and the price is only $99. And you could then have the ability to write loans, provide the money for anyone who needs it. So I sit down with you, Sam, and I tell you, Sam, I need to see you twice a week, or you need to see me twice a week for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever you feel would be appropriate. And you tell them you charge $85 a visit, and they say, do you accept insurance? You say, don't accept insurance. And they go, well, that's $170 a week. And I go, yes, it is. Is that a problem? And they say, yes, it is. I go, well, we have financing available. What can you afford to pay a week? And the person says, Doc, to be honest, maybe I could pay you $50 a week. And you go, well, I'm recommending, 18 visits times $85. That comes out to be around $1,600 and something. If you can only afford to pay $50 a week, well, then it's going to take us approximately 16 weeks to then pay for this, or whatever it mathematically works out. I don't know if I'm doing the math right, but then you would just loan them the money right there on the spot. The money will be electronically put into your bank, and deal's done. So in the day and age in which we are, I'm talking about chiropractors as well, you got to learn how to give people budgets. The 2 things on money is you got to learn how to give people a budget that they can afford. And you also have to have what we call a starter program, so that when you present the program that you feel they need, and they say to you, "Doctor, there's just no way I can do that," you can always say, "Well, we have a starter program. Starter program is only 6 visits, and you can pay for that. And at the end of that time, if you're not doing any better, then you're not stuck. And if you are doing better, then we would be done." So it's called the starter program if you cannot afford our regular program. Was that helpful, Sam?
Yeah, I think it is. I think what it ultimately comes down to is you're trying to remove the barriers of education, of people understanding, get them to understand what you're doing, good analogies, get out there, but also taking away the barrier of money, because I've questioned often that you just have to make sure a person values it. Well, something my mom taught me, she said, people buy what they want and beg for what they need. And as much as we know someone needs acupuncture, we have to really understand they want it. You just have to put it in such a way that they want it.
Well, but you also, Sam, like your mother told you, you got to learn how to get them to want it, and also to explain why they need it. You know, I used to charge $5 a visit when I started. That was 40 some odd years ago. My upper cervical tech, and I couldn't get the $5. They wouldn't give me the $5. Now we charge $100 for our upper cervical technique, and they pay it. Why do they pay it? Because we know how to communicate the value of it and the necessity for it. If they see the necessity for it, they understand the value of what you do, you will actually find people are willing to pay for those things that you would think they would never pay for.
Yeah, no, well, exactly. I think it's partly that understanding for me, and this is why I was glad you spent some time with this, is about getting patients. Ultimately, every practice derives its benefits and its success off the number of people you see. You usually say they're seeing 10 a week. I would hope most acupuncturists can see 50. And I think that's that goal they have to set, is that, well, how do I get 50 in the door? How do I get them in consistently? And I really think a lot of it comes from the tools that you're explaining. Well, so I'm real happy with the time you spent. And I would say we're limited on time, but is there any other little pearl of wisdom you can give? I mean, we're going to be closing up here, but I want to make sure if there's something else. I know they're going to be able to do the webinar as well, but for those that are just here today, I think they've learned some good things, but I know with the vast experience you have, there's got to be another nugget you maybe can give us.
Are you kidding? We could spend the next 10 years and I'd be doing nothing but giving you guys nuggets. You know, from knowing how to get referrals, from knowing how to educate people. You know, a whole practice is based on knowing how to get new ones in the door, knowing how to educate them on why they should stay with you, and knowing how to overcome financial issues. All the other problems in practice, hiring of people, most acupuncturists are terrified of hiring people. You hire somebody when you get busy, your practice will absolutely go up if you have people there who can help you. These are all issues they don't teach you in acupuncture school. You borrow money to become an acupuncturist. You spend money to open up a practice. You will have to spend a little bit more money if you want someone like me to help you. I am the least expensive. I work out whatever people can afford to try to help them. And I definitely want to end by saying many people have told me they heard that Dr. David Singer is only about money. He's about high pressure sales. He's about pushing people to buy things they don't want to buy. Please, that is not me. I've devoted my entire life to helping you, and I have never even met you. If it wasn't for people who are devoted to helping those who are committed to non-drug healthcare, you wouldn't have a license to practice. So I am not a bad guy. I have a perfect reputation within the world of chiropractic, and there are people jealous. When you do great, people get jealous. But why do I have so many successful acupuncturists working with me? Because they know I'm an honest, caring person, and that what I teach absolutely works. I want to invite you to check it out on your own, no charge. Call 1-800-326-1797, ask for Grant, spend 2 hours, and I'll train you, and you come to your own conclusions. So, Sam, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today.
Well, it's my pleasure. And I want to say I've known of you for a long time. As you know, my father was a chiropractor. So I've been around this my whole life. For 56 years, there's never been another profession. And frankly, your reputation, from my standpoint, has always been one that you were just there to help the profession and to help them market. Because the one thing we didn't learn in any of the schools, whether it's acupuncture or chiropractic, is how to really run the business end. And I think that's really where you've kind of bridged a little bit different to say, hey, it's also taking care of patients. That's the most important. But how do you bridge the business end of it? And I think really that is going to be about money, because they certainly took our money when we paid tuition. So I certainly would say, you know, we got to do it in kind. So I really am pleased to have you. And I'm so thankful for the little bit of time. And I will say, even if you did nothing else, and I encourage you to please take the time to hear that seminar he's going to give you, the webinar. But just take what you've done here to understand getting people in and educating. I will guarantee you, all of you will increase your patient base just off of this half hour of time we spent. So Dr. Singer, my pleasure to have you, and thank you for coming. And I hope we talk and meet paths again.
God bless. Take care.